Is there something wrong with my mother, or is it me? It took me years to realize that my mother has never been a good mother. Growing up, I witnessed my father's alcoholism, but as I got older, I began to see my mother's own issues with drinking. She would often point out my father's faults to portray herself as the victim. She was a mean and unsupportive wife, frequently starting arguments and forcing my sister and me to leave the house late at night. She would then tell my father that he was pathetic and mock him for crying. My father came from a household with a physically abusive, alcoholic father, and although he was never abusive himself, he was very emotionally sensitive and easily moved by others' pain. It wasn't until my parents separated and I entered high school that I truly began to see my mother's true nature. She cheated on my father with a man whom she didn't end up staying with. She started abusing Percocet and continued drinking, especially with her new partner, who isn't a kind man by any means. At this point, she has alienated herself from friends and family, yet she tries to present herself as righteous, reasonable, and politically correct. When she started dating her new partner, he would make inappropriate comments to me, saying things like, "If I were your age, I would be all over you." He even offered me marijuana and threatened that if I told my mom, he would accuse me of lying and she would believe him. He installed a lock on my mom's bedroom door and restricted my access to the landline, claiming that he needed to be able to reach her at all times. I moved out as soon as I could and stayed with my dad or my maternal grandmother. My mother was hardly reachable and often didn't have a working phone. Now that we're adults, my sister and I want nothing to do with her, but she doesn't seem to go away. She constantly plays the victim, claiming that she doesn't get to see her grandchildren often because of us. She says hurtful things to my kids, like how mommy is mean to grandma. She even crosses boundaries by patting my kids on the bum, which really bothers me. She accuses my sister and me of being unable to forgive her or move on from the past, but she continues to be the same awful person she has always been, manipulative, passive-aggressive, and prone to making inappropriate comments to provoke reactions so that she can play the victim. For instance, during the last holiday dinner, she brought up my pregnancy with my fourth child and asked if I planned to get my tubes tied, suggesting that my husband should get fixed like neutering a pet. The comment was made in front of everyone, but I chose not to react and brushed it off. Nevertheless, her hurtful comments are deeply upsetting and embarrassing. I desperately want to cut her off, but my partner believes it would be cruel of me. However, I harbor intense hatred towards her, and she constantly engages in actions to subtly upset me. I'm sorry if I've missed out on any details, I just needed to vent.